Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're on the second version of the update 1.87 dev server, and I thought what I would do is show the fact that on American Desert they've pretty much made everything destructible at this point. And to me, I think this is awesome. So I thought I could showcase it, in a singular video, just to kind of show you guys what can happen if you introduce these destructible mechanics to a whole map. Now with the new map Alaska, even with the high-rises or the apartment complexes, you can even blow out the windows and stuff like that. And on this version of this map, such as the old version, you could destroy houses, and you could go over them. Well, now what they've done is they've made pretty much everything destructible. So you see this brick house here, one that you couldn't destroy before? Well, now it is time to put a big hole in the side of it and be able to annihilate it. And you can do this over and over and over again until it's on the ground. The only difference really that this actually promotes is the fact that when either bombers come in or when artillery comes in, what it means is you will have more destructible terrain. It will look like that a battle has been fought here. When it comes to actual gameplay and stuff like that, it doesn't really make that much of a difference, because even if you destroy, a house to its bare minimum, you're still left with a central foundation, what we would call a holding wall. And to me, that's fine. It means that it looks like a battle has been fought here. You can see even this large building here. You can destroy areas of it. You can eventually, if you want, level this building. And what it reminds me of is Tunisia. Tunisia is a map which has a really nice town on it. And that town in itself is able to be pretty much annihilated. And it is amazing that if you fight in that town, or whatever you want to call it, is you eventually fight in a separate battlefield compared to what you started with. And you can already see with the destruction that we see here, and I just want to thank Captain Ballistic, Shimakaze, Alafia, Red Andres, and Solar Cinder to go around blowing stuff up so we can show it to you guys, that it creates a different battlefield, and in some aspects it does create different paths. So you can see with houses like here, well, not houses, but businesses like this, you can actually create separate paths to what you would normally used to be. So instead of going through there, you can go through here. You can maybe surprise the enemy a little bit. When it comes to... for the love of God. When it comes to being able to... create separate paths, I think that is good generally for gameplay, because at the end of the day, what we end up in is a situation where you can now create flanks, you can now create different areas, you can now create different things going on. So I much prefer the style that we have here, right? Where you can actually go over it, instead of being able to just annihilate it. And with other places, with the large houses, it would be much better if we could fully, at the end of the day, be able to destroy them. But instead, it is nice to give this overall feel of a battlefield. And talking about Battlefield, so one of the things that really attracted me to Battlefield Bad Company, especially the multiplayer mode back in the day, is Gold Rush. And with Gold Rush, what you end up in is a situation where you basically have with Gold Rush going on, the idea that you are pushing a village, or you are pushing a point which is designed to hold gold in it, and then the offensive team plants a bunch of detonations or dynamites around the gold, and that's how they win and push on to the next village. But when you started attacking the village with tanks, with armored cars, with bazookas, with pretty much everything, what you ended up in was a scenario where the village would look pristine, or it would at least look like a village, and when you were done with it, at the end, what you would have is just a pile of rubble with foundations all over the place. And that to me is what War Thunder is getting to when it's starting to add in this destructibility. Like, I loved it when American Desert came out and you could absolutely ram these minor houses. And now, with this extra bit, now that you can destroy stuff like this, that you can destroy not just these shops, but you can actually go through areas like this. If we have a look at this restaurant right here, you can just barrel through it, kind of like how you can do on the Alaska map. And it would be lovely to see. I remember one of the more interesting videos that I actually saw about War Thunder was a situation where somebody took the Tunisian town or village, and what they did was they flattened it, right? They completely flattened it, showing how it goes from all buildings to absolutely nothing. And I would love to see a time-lapse or something like that for this American Desert map as well, which is designed to show the destructibility of all of these buildings. Now, one building I have shown that you cannot destroy on this, which does make sense to a degree, just for respectable reasons, is the church. The church cannot be destroyed. It seems to be completely, what's the word? It seems to be completely indestructible, which I think is okay. You know, at the end of the day, you can't have everything to be destructible, and just out of a respectful idea, I think it is probably a good idea to do that, especially since everything else on this map is now destructible. Literally everything on it, and as I said, down to its foundations. We saw this idea with Maginot Line. We saw this idea with Alaska, and we're now seeing it with American Desert. I think this gives us some great opportunities to be able to push forward, to be able to do some wonderful things when it comes to actually destructible environments. And I'm hoping that one day we get a European place, a European area, and from that European area we get some really not very wide streets, so very thin streets. And the idea is you have small houses which are long, very much similar to this, because we do have terraced houses in the UK, and the way that terraced houses work, some people may know them as city houses, but they are designed like this. So they're very long, and the idea is instead of having a wide house, you have a long house, so it extends backwards. And you just have a bunch of them lining all of the streets, and you can pick and choose where you can go, right? You can pick and choose which place you go through, and it's kind of like a cat and mouse idea, where you can either go through the really, really thin streets, or you can go over the houses, like you can do on this map. And I think that would work extremely well. Even buildings which look like hotels, or look like, well, let's just say 1960s drug dens, you can destroy them as well. Everything can be annihilated like this. I have dropped a few artillery strikes here just to prove a point, and I'll do it on this side too, just to show you how even the signs, everything has a model, everything has a damage model, everything can be annihilated, and it is just wonderful. Look at this general destruction, and this is just from an artillery strike. How amazing and how immersive it is going to be if you're fighting in this little courtyard here, or around this roundabout, where all you see around you is things being annihilated. For me, that is just wonderful. That is something that you can't really get in many other games. As I said, one of the games which does this really well is Battlefield, but many other games don't do this level of destructibility that great while you are going along. Look at it. Isn't it absolutely wonderful? And it isn't just limited to the small places. Big places are annihilated too. As I said, everything can be destroyed apart from the church and maybe this fountain, right? The fountain, which I believe starts life as a statue, was actually destroyed, and it's not even a fountain. So with that, it's awesome. It's absolutely wonderful. It is astonishing how far this game has come in such a short period of time, to be able to have this much destruction in it and not annihilate frame rate. Because I remember back in the day, at least on the dev server I should say, I remember back in the day when they added these mechanics to Berlin, of all places, and on Berlin, whenever a wall fell, and it was either destroyed by artillery or it was destroyed by an individual, what happened was it definitely didn't feel well on the frames. It hurt, and it hurt hard. Whereas on this, that is not the case. On this, as you can see, we're setting up in a scenario where it actually doesn't really affect anything that much. And let's just see if we can annihilate this house right here with a concentrated barrage. But yeah, it's just one of those really cool things. It's just one of those really interesting ideas, and it doesn't really add too much to the gameplay, but what it adds is interesting quality of life features, and also just a feeling of being at war. Feeling that while you are in this scenario, you yourself are part of this, and you yourself can see the destruction going on around you. I like the idea of when a battle starts, everything looks clean, everything looks vanilla, and then by the end, the atmosphere is created that yes, a battle did happen here, yes, something did go wrong here, and that would be this. That would be this that you see here. This would create it. Then destroyed houses, then destroyed other buildings. All of these you could see and you could tell a story of what happened in the battle. And many players probably won't care about that. But as somebody who looks into more than just the competitive side of War Thunder, I think it's incredibly important that these parts of the mechanics and these parts of the game are looked at in a very positive way. And I definitely do. I think for me, this is awesome. I love this. I love the radar stuff way more than any vehicle they could add this patch. I know a lot of people are looking at this vehicle, they're like, oh, this is awesome, you know, this is a Leopard 2A5, it looks wonderful, it looks beautiful, and then a lot of people look at the Mitsubishi and they're like, oh, it's the same thing. Well, for me, no. For me, stuff like this idea of the house being destroyed, which was their last patch, I will say, but how about that house over there, the mayor's house? Is the mayor exempt? Well, maybe when this block of wood disappears, never mind, we'll just shoot through it. Even the mayor's house, absolutely obliterated. That is so much more fun to me than any top-tier vehicle that you can add, than any top-tier jets, than any supersonic thing. Just the little things like that are so much better. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.